Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree expansion will soon take root, and if you are looking for a sturdy build to carry your tarnished through the Shadowlands, we've got you covered. We've put together 7 practical builds based on what we're expecting to encounter in the DLC, one for each of the Great Runes. As stated, most of these builds are based on what we've gleaned from the trailer and already had confirmed by From Software. What you won't find on this list are some of our previous build guides, including PvP, Mage, and Blaidd. You'll find links to all of those in the video description, in case you want even more suggestions for how to build your character. The ones in this video will be fun and practical, with a little bit of fashion souls sprinkled in for good measure. We've also thrown in a few meta builds from the community, for those looking to min-max with certain weapons or spells. So whether you're a mage or a melee fighter, there's something for you. This first build works for both types, because it's all about your armor and accessories. Right after saying that the sky is blue, director Hidetaka Miyazaki confirmed that Shadow of the Erdtree will have a poison area, so you need to be prepared. The best armor for that area would be the Mushroom set, which has a massive immunity boost of 243. You can find it inside Seethwater Cave on Mount Gelmir, after you've opened the dungeon with 2 Stone Sword keys. Once you drop down the poison waterfall, hang left to make your way into the upper part of the room you just exited. Follow the ledge until you can make a right, and you'll find a chamber with several mushroom people praying to one of those giant flowers. The armor set is on a body next to it. The Spiral Horn shield confers a similar boost to your immunity. You'll find it on a body immediately south of the Mausoleum's Lake in eastern Liurnia of the Lakes. We've marked it on the map right here. For further boosts, you can use talismans, like the Immunizing Horn Charm. Follow the river that runs due south from Noxtella Eternal City, and you'll find it in a giant ant nest. The modeled necklace has the same effect, and since both variants are actually found in related places, we'll show you where to get the +1 version. It's on top of the Hollowhorn grounds in Nokron Eternal City. These areas are accessible during Ranni the Witch's questline, which is simply too involved to include in this video. To get started, you'll have to clear Caria Manor and speak to Ranni at her tower behind the estate. This game-spanning quest actually leads to one of the main endings. We have a full walkthrough for the rest of it on our wiki, so hit the link in the description for all the info on that. There are also 3 easily accessible spells that will keep the poison from harming you too much. Cure Poison is the obvious one, and Brother Corrin sells it at Round Table Hold. If you give him the Two Fingers Prayer Book, he'll also sell Lord's Aid, which has the same effect. To get the prayer book, head to the fortified manor in Lanedale Royal Capital. From the first floor site of Grace, go to the door on the opposite corner of the main hall. Take a right and head straight to the end of the passage to find the book on a corpse in front of the fireplace. Finally, you can use Flame Cleanse Me to deal a little bit of burn damage to yourself in order to cure poison or scarlet rot. You'll find this spell on a body at the Fire Monk camp just southeast of the Church of Vows in Liurnia. Speaking of fire, it's the most common elemental damage type in the base game, and both Mesmer and this giant Wicker Man looking boss from the DLC trailer make it clear that the Shadowlands will be no different. You'll need to be able to take the heat, and the greatest fire resistance comes from the Fire Prelate set. It'll take some grinding to get the full thing, but every part is dropped as potential loot from the Fire Prelates. They're found in several places in the lands between, but the first spot you'll probably encounter them is Fort Blaidd, at the western edge of Mount Gelmir. If you want a fire-resistant shield, you can't do much better than the Visage Shield. There's an underground section of the Caelem Ruins here, and you'll find 2 mad pumpkin heads down there. Take them out and you can grab the shield they were guarding. That armor and shield are quite heavy, so for the lighter builds, there are other options. One of the best is the Flame Drake Talisman, and you'll get the +2 version as the prize in one of the game's many dungeons. Beat the Beastmen of Fara Mazula at the end of Dragonbarrow Cave in Caelid to claim it. Casters, meanwhile, have the perfect incantation at their disposal for fire resistance. It's called Flame Fortification, and as the name implies, it buffs your fire resistance by a huge 35% for a limited time. Buy it from Brother Corrin at Round Table Hold. For melee fighters looking to utilize fire damage for themselves, the Blasphemous Blade is a great choice. Reddit user Geralt-of-Tsushima has a nice breakdown of their recommended gear, which will help you, quote, melt everything and recover HP while doing it. First things first, you'll need to beat Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy, to receive his remembrance. That can be traded with Enya for the Blasphemous Blade, a unique weapon with fire infusion that restores health with every enemy you defeat. Equip Rykard's Great Rune to increase the effect. You can also use its Taker's Flame ability to restore health as you deal more fire damage. To take this even further, pair it with the Erdtree Seal in your other hand. Head to street level from the prison town site of Grace in Volcano Manor. There's a dungeon entrance right by the burning pile of bodies and the Omen Killer. You'll find the seal on a body inside. You'll want to cast Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength to increase your attack and defense with the former, and buff your fire attack specifically with the latter. Golden Vow is on a body inside the Corpse Stench Shack in Mount Gelmir, and Flame Grant Me Strength is found between two fire chariots behind Fort Gale and Caelid. As for talismans, you can raise your fire damage even more with the Fire Scorpion Charm, found on the ramparts of Fort Blaidd. Jump over to the small wooden balcony once you reach the roof. To boost your physical attack, you can use the Shard of Alexander. That's your reward for finishing Alexander the Iron Fist questline, which you can start by finding him stuck in the ground at this spot near the river canyon in northern Limgrave. Knock him free, then follow the link in the video description for the remaining steps of this quest. Also hit the link for Blaidd's Questline, because this other talisman is part of that. You'll hear some strange howling near the Mistwood Ruins in Limgrave, and once you do, you can return to Merchant Calais at the Church of Ella to learn the finger snap gesture. Use it to call down Blaidd from his perch. You'll then be sent to fight Bloodhound Knight Darwill, who's found inside the Everjail here. Once you beat him, you can purchase the Carrion Filigreed crest from Blacksmith Iji in Liurnia. That talisman lowers the magic cost of all spells, like the two we just recommended. Finally, you can boost this build even further with the right Wondrous Physic mix. Head to the Minor Erdtree in the Mistwood to find the spiked cracked tear on an altar nearby. Then, beat the Putrid Avatar at the Minor Erdtree near the Smoldering Church in Caelid for the Flame Shrouding cracked tear. These will enhance your charged attacks and fire damage respectively. On the other side of the coin is ice damage, and any casters looking to cool the flames of Messmer can do so with a Frost Mage build. Reddit user Thovett has a solid setup that couples ice spells with a bit of melee. One of their go-to spells is Adula's Moonblade, a powerful late-game sorcery that slashes forward and fires off a blast of cold air. You have to defeat Glintstone Dragon Adula to get it, and she'll fly away from the Three Sisters to the Cathedral of Manus Celis after your first battle with her. To get there, you'll have to complete Ranni the Witch's questline, as linked earlier in this video. Carrion Slicer is a similar spell, slashing forward with a magical blade. You can buy it from Miriel, Selen, or Celavis after handing over the Royal House Scroll. To get that, head to this enemy camp in southeastern Limgrave. There's a body by the sorcerer on the ledge that's holding the scroll. The Carrion Glintstone Staff will boost the effect of both of those spells, so you'll want to make that your casting focus. To get it, enter the Carrion Study Hall in its regular form and follow the stairs to the back of the main chamber. Mind the ghosts. Thovett also recommends either Rennala or Ranni's Dark Moon, both of which invoke the night sky with a moon-shaped blast of magic. You'll get Rennala's by trading her remembrance for the spell. For Ranni's, it's the prize you'll find inside Chilona's Rise near the Cathedral of Manus Celis, meaning it's only reachable after the Witch's quest. Once you're there, you'll need to open the tower by attacking 3 spirit turtles around the area. We've marked them for you here, but you can consult our wiki for more info if you need it. To complete the theme, you can wear Ranni's Snow Witch set, which will increase the cold damage of those spells. Ranni's quest will also let you inside Renna's Rise about halfway through, and the robes and hat are found in a chest inside. Finally, you can use the Radagon icon to make all of your spellcasting go quicker. To get it, start from the Debate Hall site of Grace inside Raya Lucaria Academy. That's the Red Wolf boss room. Head north, then make a full U-turn outside and follow the railing. Hop over it and climb the ladder in front of you to reach a broken window. Follow the balcony on the other side to find the talisman. Messmer is called the Impaler, and that definitely sounds like pierce damage to us. To prepare for his impaling attacks, you'll need a sturdy set of armor. Lionel's set has the highest pierce reduction in the game, as well as a high poise value to prevent you from being staggered. You can get Lionel's set in Lanedale Royal Capital. Head to the Lower Capital Church site of Grace and look to the body in the bed in the same room. Search it to find the complete set. To further boost your defense, you can take your pick of any talisman with a defense bonus, really, but there's one we would recommend. The blue feathered branch sword cuts the damage you take in half when you're below 20%. Beat the Deathbird east of the War Master's Shack in Stormhill to get it. Now back to dealing lots of damage, and restoring your health too. One of the more recent meta builds to emerge uses Great Stars, a spiked great hammer that restores 1% of your HP with every hit. You'll find it in Altus Plateau, along the road that runs west from the Road of Iniquity side path Site of Grace. Look for a well-guarded traveling carriage pulled by 2 trolls. If you can fight your way to the chest, you'll find this weapon inside. Reddit user Milkiguess has some recommendations. Start with the Wild Strike's Ash of War, which you almost certainly already have. It's dropped by a teardrop scarab leading up the hill to the fight with Margit the Fell Omen. Now you're going to equip 2 talismans, the Assassin's Crimson Dagger and the Taker's Cameo. The former can be found in the Death Touch Catacombs in Northern Limgrave. It's dropped by the Black Knife Assassin boss inside. The latter is awarded as part of Tanith's Questline, which you can start upon meeting her at Volcano Manor. The quest involves assassinating 3 targets for her faction, and we'll direct you to our full walkthrough for all the details on those, if you follow the link in the description. With all this, you can use Wild Strikes to quickly build up Great Star's bleed effect, then use your jumping attack for massive damage. With those 2 talismans, you'll restore extra health on every critical hit and on every enemy defeated. Finally, we have one for the Fashion Souls players, an Erdtree themed build. It's in the name of the DLC after all. If we're going to be in the shadow of the Erdtree, then we might as well represent it. You can start with the Tree Sentinel set, found inside the Auriza hero's grave. To get it requires you to destroy 3 chariots inside, which means following a specific path. Our wiki has the exact details so that you don't miss a step. Just hit the link in the description. And the final link is for the Fringefolk hero's grave, in which you'll find the Erdtree's favor. You'll find it in a hidden lower section of the Fringefolk hero's grave, if you drop off this spot at the second chariot ramp and make a U-turn. Melee fighters can also grab the tree spear in a carriage at the southern tip of the broken Liurnia highway bridge, and they can get an Erdsteel dagger from Kenneth Height after clearing out Fort Height on the eastern edge of Limgrave. He's found along the road to the Mistwood. Need a shield? Take out the 2 tree sentinels at the grand entrance to the capital along the southwestern portion of the city wall. You'll get the Erdtree Great Shield for doing so. If you want a bow, you can get the Erdtree Bow in the city itself. Start from the Erdtree Sanctuary Site of Grace and climb the route outside the eastern door to reach the 2nd floor. Head back outside through the next door, jump to the roof to the west, then jump through the broken window to find the chest containing the bow. There's some great Erdtree inspired magic for the casters out there too. We've already told you where to get the Erdtree Seal and Golden Vow incantations earlier in this video, and you can find Blessing of the Erdtree right next to the Queen's Bedchamber Site of Grace in the capital. That's a great spell for regenerating your health for a full minute and a half. And with that, we've given you some recommended builds for Shadow of the Erdtree. Some are practical, some are more meta, and some are just plain fun. No matter which one you choose, stay tuned to IGN for more help with Elden Ring's impending expansion.